Greetings, everyone! Today we'll be talking about the man among men. Hey, Barry, how you doing? You still doing the Admiral thing? Because that was the last video, you know? And this isn't even, we're not even talking about One Piece today. We're talking about Black Clover. I don't even know why you're still dressed like... Okay, Admiral Barry. Okay, anyway, so today, big spoilers, big time spoilers for the most recent chapter of Black Clover, so if you have not read that yet, for one thing, go and read it, and then after you're done reading it, go get yourself a snack or something, and then come back, and then read it again, and then after that, I want you to go for a walk, and I want you to think about that chapter. I really want you to think deep into the depths of your soul, what that chapter meant to you, and then I want you to come back to your house and then read it a third time, okay? Because that's how good that chapter was, alright? So, Yami! Right? You know, like, I'm kind of waiting for the moment in this story where we go with the common trope where, like, the mentor, the master, you know, he falls in battle, he dies, or he has, like, a crushing defeat, and it's up to, like, his students to rise up to the challenge and avenge him. You know, it doesn't always have to be, like, death. Like, look at Naruto. Like, Kakashi never dies, but there's plenty of moments in Naruto where Kakashi's kind of, like, at death's door, and, like, Naruto and, you know, Sasuke or Sakura have to show up and be like, oh, okay, we're gonna, you know, we're here together, you know, we're gonna fight together or whatever, and all that stuff, okay? So it doesn't always have to happen like that, but I thought this was gonna be the fight with Dante. I thought this was gonna be the fight where Yami was gonna bust out everything he's got. It was gonna be a crazy fight, just insane choreography, and like him flying around using, you know, dimensional slashes and black holes and black moons and everything, you know, and it was gonna be amazing, but I'll be honest with you, I thought it was gonna end with, like, Dante, you know, that he's just gonna release, like, a giant attack, and then, you know, Yami's gonna release a giant attack, kind of like in One Piece when Blackbeard went up against Ace, and they're gonna clash, and it's gonna, like, destroy the entire mountainside, and then at the end of the fight, it's gonna be, like, Dante standing there, like, missing part of his body, but Yami's there, like, completely destroyed, and, like, he's all burned up or something, and he just drags him back to the Spade Kingdom or whatever. I thought that's how it was going to go. Boy, Tabata proved me wrong, right? And you know what? This gives me the perfect opportunity to talk about a theory revolving around Yami, and I just did a whole Yami video for the Black Clover discussion series, Black Bull discussion series, I should say, you know, only a couple months ago, but in that video, I feel like I didn't bring this up, like, as much as I should have, because I love this theory, I genuinely do. I mentioned, I think, in the video that Yami is essentially a shonen protagonist that has grown up, and now it's just, you know, he's 28 years old, he's leading all of his younglings, you know, he has his own students, his own magic knights that he's leading in his squadron, and, you know, he's the mentor figure, okay? Now, it's easy to look at him like that, right? But no. I'm gonna take this one step further, and I've seen theories, this is abundant on the internet, I'm not the first person who came up with this, but no, let's take that one step further. Let's not just say he's a shonen protagonist that, like, oh, his adventure's over already and now he's an adult. No, let's take that quite literally, as in the fact that Yami got isekai'd into the Black Clover universe and got into his all crazy, wacky adventures, like he legitimately was. It would be kind of like if you watched Boruto, and in Boruto, the main character is Boruto, but then you got this Naruto guy there, without ever having Naruto exist. Like, the series of Naruto never existed, but you just watch Boruto, and it's like, oh, hey, yeah, this Naruto guy, this 7th Hokage dude, it seems like he has quite of adventures he's gone on over the years. You know, I wonder what the story is with that guy, you know, without Naruto having existed. That's kind of like it is here in Black Clover. Maybe in a parallel universe, Black Clover was the sequel story to Yami's original story, alright? So, what do I mean by being isekai'd into the Black Clover universe? Pretty much exactly what I just said. Yami was originally from our universe, got isekai'd into the Clover Kingdom, Julius met up with him, taught him about magic, he had his adventures, and then eventually he just grew up and became a Magic Knight, you know, captain, and then boom, here we are right now. Now, do I have anything to back this up? I have a lot of headcanon evidence. Usually that's good enough, right? It worked for me last week with the One Piece crap, so I guess this should work too. But no, no, no. Okay, I do have some actual evidence, sort of. I'll tell you, and you tell me if it's credible or not. All right. So, first things first, we actually do get a little bit of Yami's backstory. He does explain it, kind of sarcastically, and he, skips over a bunch of the important stuff. But we get the basis for his backstory, okay? And it actually happens like relatively early on in the story, So that alone is kind of maybe a piece of evidence for me. It's just like, all right, Tabate hinted at Yami's backstory pretty damn early on in the manga, when he was fighting against the Eye of the Midnight Sun in that cave when, it's like Gosha's arc when all the kids got kidnapped, all right? Eye of the Midnight Sun shows up, you got we thought it was leaked at the time, but it was Patri there, fighting against Yami. So, leaked is going on and on and on about, like, the elves, and we were massacred by the humans, we were betrayed, my kind was completely wiped out! And, Yami, just, his rebuttal to that is like, oh, that's a sappy story. Allow me to tell you my backstory. Turns out, I was a fisherman. There was once upon a time, there was a fisherman, and he got lost at sea, and he washed ashore in a foreign country, and a bunch of other stuff happened, and here I am right here. BAM! And he just continues on fighting, okay? So, he skips over a lot of stuff there, but let's just take that at face value, okay? So, he was a fisherman. He was a young kid. I mean, I don't know how old he was here, but we know at age 15 he was already a member of the, he was already part of the Clover Kingdom at that point. So he was probably, I want to say, maybe 10 years old, around there here. He wasn't like a toddler or anything, so he was maybe around 10 years old, maybe 11 or 12 or something like that at this point in his history, okay? His parents were fishermen, and so one day he was out to sea fishing, and he got lost in a storm, and he just washed ashore in the Clover Kingdom, and the place he was from was the Land of the Rising Sun, or Hino country, alright? For those of you, I'm sure many of you already know that the Land of the Rising Sun is Japan. That's another name for Japan, alright? And the way that Yami was dressed back then seems to imply like more of an Edo kind of period, maybe like in the 17 or 1800s. I'm kind of leaning more on like 1800s era Japan. He was growing up in a fishing village. His parents were fishermen. He was out one day by himself, got lost in a storm, washed ashore in the Clover Kingdom. Okay. So, a couple of things about that. First and foremost, I'll just throw it out there, how come Yami never returned to his home country? Especially since Yami brings up that when he washed ashore in the Clover Kingdom, he was met with massive amounts of discrimination, because you know how the nobles and the higher-ups are in the Clover Kingdom, like even people that don't have a lot of mana are immediately just disregarded as like lower peasants, so imagine Yami arriving from a foreign country altogether, he would be met with a tremendous amount of discrimination just from that. He just like, you don't come from, this country, therefore you have no part here, or something like that, right? He also couldn't speak the language. That was also something that they made it a point to bring up. He couldn't speak the language. Julius actually taught him the language of the Clover Kingdom. So that's something there. So, why though? I mean, maybe not immediately, even maybe been tough to travel back, but Yami's 28 years old right now, and yeah, he has other responsibilities. You could also say, it's like, oh, okay, well, Julius had a lot of faith in him, he was a member of the Grey Deer for a while, and then Julius, when he became the Magic Emperor, he appointed Yami to head up the Black Bulls, so Julius has a lot of faith in Yami, and Yami obviously respects the man, so it would make sense why he would be like, even if he could return home, he's like, I think my place is here in the Clover Kingdom, rather than returning home. But it's odd enough that the Land of the Rising Sun, Hino country, never mentioned, really. The only time that he ever really brought it up was, during that fight where he first mentions it, and he also, I think the only time it's name dropped in the context of the story, and let me know, because I'm not encyclopedic as, with Black Clover as I am with One Piece, but when Asta asks Yami about his weapon, he's like, whoa, what kind of sword is that, Mr. Yami? And he's just like, oh, this is called a katana, kid. It's from my homeland, the Land of the Rising Sun. Pretty damn sweet, right? So, I think that he mentions it there. That's where we first get the name, I believe. But beyond that, never really brought up, it could very well be a place, somewhere far off in the land, because we don't really know the whole size of this planet yet. Just recently in the last story arc, we just finally got the world building from the Clover Kingdom to here's the Spade Kingdom, Diamond Kingdom, Heart Kingdoms. But still, that just kind of makes up like one single continent. I'm hoping, because I love world building in stories, fantasy worlds. I feel like if you're gonna write a fantasy, like magic, sorcery, magical beast, that kind of stuff, if you're gonna do that, it's kind of your duty to make a really decent, map of that world. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to map out every single island, every single place on the planet, but a globe would be nice, just to get the idea of like how exactly big this area is, So I'm assuming, yeah, Heart, Spade, Diamond, and Clover Kingdoms all bunched together and make up one continent, right? So here's the other question, though. He washes ashore in this completely foreign land. Yami knew nothing about it. That seemed to have happened. Like, you'd think if you were at sea in a fishing boat and a storm whipped up and you got knocked, your ship got destroyed or you got knocked overboard and you just drifted ashore. You know what I mean? Like, you'd think that it wouldn't be that far away. That would be like, okay, I was a fisherman outside of Japan just fishing, and then a storm came up, and all of a sudden I woke up in freaking Western Africa. It'd be like, what? That doesn't make any sense. I woke up in Europe. I woke up in Scotland. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense unless like a wormhole got involved or a black hole, I guess. I don't know. Something got involved there. So that's where it kind of lends me to the freaking isekai theory, right? Like he was a fisherman in feudal Japan, just a normal ass kid, and then storm whips up, he gets isekai'd, he just drifts ashore in the Clover Kingdom, doesn't understand the language, nobody around him knows where he comes from. He's like, I come from Japan, Nihon, the land of the rising sun, and they're like, I don't know where that is. They show him maps, and it's like, where is it? I'm like, I don't know where it is. Like, no one ever brings it up since then. I think there's a point why no one brings it up, because in this world, it just doesn't exist. It's another dimension, right? And another kind of thing to go along with this, and once again, this is, headcanon, a big part of this is, but Yami's magic. Yami uses a dark magic, and it's very, very unusual to use dark magic, right? That is not something that just everybody has. It's pretty much right there with William Vengeance's World Tree magic as like one-of-a-kind sort of deal, to the point where Dante's whole master plan hinges on him getting his hands on World Tree magic and dark magic to combine them together and do that magic tree thing, and then the tree of the impronounceable word of Kilplof or whatever, and then open up the gateway to the land of the devils. By the way, the land of the devils, just confirms right then and there are other dimensions that exist in this reality. Black Clover, that's not something like, oh, a different dimension, that doesn't make any sense. Like, no, that makes perfect sense, alright, because it's like the dimension of the devils is a thing that exists. Dante even explains about it a little bit in the last chapter. He's like, we can only go 80% maximum power, because when we're accessing our devil powers, we're literally getting power from another reality altogether, so there's only a limit to how much transference can occur. But if my magic were to happen, if I were to get World Tree and Dark Magic together and make my plan realized, then there could be a perfect exchange. So we could have 100% of devil power in either dimension, I suppose. So other dimensions definitely exist, and so that also kind of lends it to believe there that he washed ashore, got isekai'd, and then Julius found him out. The only other thing, and the reason he got his dark magic is because when he went to go to the grimoire test or whatever, you could always, the reason why, okay, if he's from our world, how come he has mana? How come he has magic? Well, that's the point. You could always just throw in magical anime bullshit. You could say like, oh, Yami was the chosen one. I'm not really a huge fan of like the prophecy child bullshit, but if you want to use it in this one instance, it's fine, because I could see Yami being the prophecy child, honestly. He's unlike a lot of other prophecy childs, right? He's like the chain-smoking, muscle-bound, like, I'm gonna slice it in half. It'd be like if Kenpachi Zaraki from Bleach was like, you are the child of prophecy. Screw Ichigo, you're the child of prophecy, Zaraki. I am. Sweet. I get to slice more things in half, right? Okay. So, yeah, you could have that. Like, he got isekai'd, and, he's like, oh, you're the chosen one, you have the magic power, and when the grimoire was selecting him, he was unusual, because he's from a completely different reality. Maybe that's where the dark magic comes from, because dark magic is already, like, gravity, warping, kind of dimensional. He has literally a technique that slices through dimensions. Maybe the fact that he transferred from one dimension to another is the reason he has all these crazy abilities, right? Just the process of, like, transferring through a portal gave him this weird-ass magic, right? God. And man, I'd be remiss to mention it because it happened last chapter. The whole thing that really the whole reason I'm making this video right now is because of Death Thrust. Whoo! because that's Yami's thing. Yami's thing is, well, he thrusts. But another thing is, like, whenever he's getting beaten down in a fight, he's like, I just gotta surpass my own limits. And it's easy to look at that and probably just say, oh, that's his catchphrase or whatever, but no. He's not just an isekai shonen protagonist. He's an isekai shonen protagonist that kind of is self-aware, and he learned that all of this stuff works. Like, for example, if you got sucked into an anime, and you're fighting against a really strong enemy, and you get the crap beat out of you, and if you just like, wait a second, this usually works in anime, I believe in myself and my friends! Boom! And you just, like, obliterate the main villain and, like, tear that mountain behind him a new asshole and just, oh! Holy crap, that actually worked! You'd be doing that every single fight. Every single fight you get into a fight, you'd be like, whoo, 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 I believe in my friends! Bam! Willpower! Bam! Strength! Bam! Happiness! Bam! Cupcakes! Bam! You know, you keep on saying it because it's like you don't even understand. Like, Yami doesn't understand, like, he doesn't know he's in an anime or whatever. I'm not going that level with it. But if Yami growing up, living in the Clover Kingdom, having all his wacky shonen adventures, if he started to realize, wow, every single time I'm in a really tough battle, every single time I'm in a tough battle, I just say to myself, I'm gonna surpass my limits. And then somehow, some way, through a mechanism that I myself am not even aware of or understand completely, somehow, I win. So, if I'm in a fight with a random, riffraff guy or whatever, who cares? I'll just cut him down. But if I'm ever in a fight where it's looking like, kind of even keel, or I might actually lose this, I just gotta say this line, and it always works. So, that's what he does, because he uses it a lot. He used it against the fight with Zagrid, with the devil, and he used it here against Dante, where he's just like, man, this guy's really strong. All right, tell you what, manly burp. I'm gonna surpass my limits beyond my limits. I'm gonna take this compressed mana zone, and I'm gonna super compress it. Whoosh! And then I'm just gonna launch it all at once. Death thrust. And then, boom. Dante is just, he doesn't even have a body anymore. He is a pile of limbs now. He has 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. He no longer has an abdomen. Calling him a body would be an inaccurate statement, alright? He just, boom! And then Yami ends it with like, man, I wanted that to be a thrust. Turned out to be more of a damn cannon. Alright. Man, and some people like Death Thrust, I mean, that's kind of an unoriginal attack name. I don't even think you need the thrust part. You don't need it. Literally, the name of that attack should just be Death. Fits Yami, he's a very straightforward kind of guy. It's just like Dark Cloak Lightless Slash is like the most clever he gets. Beyond that, it's like Black Hole, Black Moon, Death Thrust, that's what he's got, right? But that's all he needs. He's freaking Yami, right? Holy crap. So, yeah, I kind of honestly want Tabata to go down that route with it. I really do. I want to get to a point where we're learning more about Yami's history. Like, let's say, okay, that last scene was amazing, and I'm really, really genuinely hoping Dante doesn't pull some bullshit at the last minute, because we could always do that. You could always do the, well, technically I lost, but I still win. He could always do that. He'd be like, well, I did end up losing my corporeal form against you, Yami Tsukihiro, but I prepared for this contingency. And he, snaps his finger, and he has, a black vortex that sucks up Yami and transports him to the Spade King. I hope it's nothing stupid like that, because this victory was well damn earned, alright? Yami busted out everything. It was looking really dangerous. I want Yami to have the victory on this. I want him to just, boom! Death thrust Dante. Dante's obviously not dead, but he's like, holy crap, you completely just obliterated my physical form in one attack. So maybe Dante could be like, alright, I'm gonna get going. It's gonna take me a couple days to, reform my body or whatever the hell. But once I do, I'm gonna come back and get you, Yami Tsukihiro, and be like, yeah, just get the hell out of my country. You know what I mean? Yeah, just get the hell out of here. And so, freaking Dante's gonna leave, and then they might come back later, because I mean, when you set up a thing like that, when you set up the whole premise of combining World Tree and Dark Magic together to make that dimensional portal, that's basically probably going to happen, but I hope it happens in a roundabout way. I hope it doesn't happen with, like, literally Yami getting the crap beat out of him, William getting the crap beat out of him, and just getting dragged back to the Spade Kingdom, getting chained to a wall in some sacrificial ritual circle or something, and just, you know, Hamum Shavai, and then open the portal. I hope it's like, I don't know, somehow they figure out a way to, like, copy Yami's magic. Like, honestly, I would like that more, because that at least would not include Yami being defeated and dragged back. If you want to figure out some way to, like, you know, copy Raya's, you know, copy magic, you know, it's like, oh, we can do this instead. There's another way around this or something. And maybe we could do something like that. But yeah, eventually we're going to get to a point where this tree thing is activated, and we're going to see, like, the devil dimension or something. And maybe we can learn at a point, like, Yami could actually explain it. Maybe it was a thing where Julius told him not to talk about it very much. Julius might have told Yami, like, Yami, man, you really... You know, maybe they figured it out. They puzzled it out. I'm like, dude, Yami, I think you came from a different dimension. I think you came from a completely different reality. And I don't think we're going to be able to send you back. You're basically just stuck here in the Clover Kingdom. And Yami's like, all right, I guess I'm just stuck here. Okay, I guess I'll do what I have to do. And he's like, sure. You should probably not tell anybody about this, though. You should probably not tell anybody that you... I mean, you could tell them where you're from, because they probably wouldn't know. They wouldn't care. You know, they'll probably just think it's a far-off, distant land that's unexplored or whatever. But you probably shouldn't tell people that you, like, dimension-hopped into this plane of existence, because that's something that's, like, really dangerous. You know, if someone got it in their heads, they might try to kidnap you or, you know, capture you or something, right? And they might use your power. So it might have been something like that. Like, Yami and Julius, they might know. And then after this whole thing happens, Yami explains to his whole, like, squadron, like, all right, listen up, you piss ants. I got a story to tell you, all right? So once upon a time, this kid fell into a dimensional vortex and ended up over here in freaking Magic Land. You know, like, that's what happened, you know? So, yeah, anyway... that's the video on Yami again. You know, awesome character. What do you guys think about the whole isekai theory? Let me know in the comments section below. This will be Tekking101 and Admiral Barry signing out. Phew!